Union Leipzig are on a mission to become the best club in Germany. We've got an exciting team of breakout stars and a manager with a winning mentality. But after only a 10th place finish last season, there's still a lot of work to be done. The goal this season is clear. We want a European spot. But does this club have what it takes to compete with mega money clubs like our rivals Red Bull? Well, we're about to find out. So it's a second season for no-nonsense manager Victor Erlander, who completely overhauled our team last season. Selling fan favorites like Simon Wolf and Danny Castro concerned both the club and fans, but the result was undeniable as he sent us on a 20-game unbeaten streak. His controversial decisions were ultimately right. So the manager is being backed here and creating a team of mentally strong players who are thriving in his unique high-intensity system. Players like Uwe Schwartz, Nico Fofana, and the new captain Felix Kruger are playing the best football of their careers. But it's a split dressing room because the managers publicly criticize players like Julian Busch and Mateusz Wolski, who are now low on confidence. Some players love the manager's tough personality, but others don't. And now as Union Leipzig look to transition into a top team this season, who's gonna stay? Who's gonna go? For many players at the club, this preseason may be the final chance to catch the eye of the manager. And the players that stand out the most in preseason are the youngsters who have come back from loan spells. Jan Kraus looks absolutely incredible at left back, so good that he may be in the running for the first team this season. And same goes for young central midfielder Stefan Berger, whose calm presence in midfield is something to behold, especially given he's just a teenager at the moment. But the single breakout star of preseason is actually our young striker, Maximilian Bender, who bursts onto the scene with a goal in his debut appearance for Union Leipzig. These are the players who shared a class in the academy with last season's breakout star Uwe Schwartz, and now they're sharing a pitch with him. Union Leipzig's whole idea of having a youth-first team is actually coming to fruition now, as players like Bender are bursting onto the scene. It took years to scout and develop these players, but it's paying off now because they're looking really good and integrating well with the rest of the players in our team as Julian Busch shows signs of life, picking up an assist as Bender scores his third goal in just 3 games. Well, I don't know how many of these players Erlander was seriously considering before preseason, but given the way things just went, I think we could see an influx of new academy faces into the first team this season. So 7 years into our journey here at Union Leipzig, the academy vision is finally coming together. We have an entire generation of young up-and-coming teenagers who genuinely look like they could be world class. And we're not the only ones that think so, because some top-level teams are starting to put offers in for our young players. We're gonna have to make sure we value them here at the club, because if we don't, surely they'll end up somewhere else. But it's not a fairy tale for every young player. As the rest of our previous generations are loaned out, the manager expects nothing less than the best. But this club is about more than just youth, and with $40 million to spend in the market, this could be our biggest window yet. Erlander insists we still need some key new signings. And first up, it's a massive signing for rough and tumble defender Marcelo Calvo to come in and support the manager's highly physical back line. But next up, it's the big target, a new starting striker. And Erlander has one specific player he wants, Julian Bakker, the player he says will fit his system perfectly, the only player he wants before this window closes. But there's a problem. Right now, we can't afford his release clause. We're not a rich club. This would be our biggest ever signing. So the club offer Erlander an alternative to bring back our old youth striker Cedric Makoko, who's been doing great since he departed the club. But Erlander is a stubborn man, and he insists he only wants Bakker at the club. And the team, having pledged our backing to him, is gonna have to do whatever it takes to make this happen now. Union Leipzig are gonna listen to offers for our players and see if we can sell some of our stars to make room for a new one at the club. Once again, we're looking at a potential overhaul for this team just days before the start of our new season. So as we await our new signing's arrival, it's Nico Fofana given a start for the first time in years. He's been a long-time sub for us. Now we're gonna have to rely on him until the new signing comes in. And with Julian Busch pushed back out to his more natural position on the wing, he's actually looking good as well, with a creative dribble through midfield and a perfectly threaded ball to find our number 9, Nico Fofana, who comes up huge. And Union Leipzig continue our all-action style from last season, trying to outscore the opposition as our attack gets off to a flowing start. Uwe Schwartz gets on the score sheet. And with the game on the line, it's a final ball through from Nico Fofana to find Julian Busch in space. It's a dramatic late winner, but 3 big points here to kick off our new season under Victor Erlander. The future still is looking bright for Union Leipzig. And off the pitch, the club are hard at work listening to offers for our players and make the difficult decision to sell Torben Thomas, who just came in last season, to make room for our new striker signing. We finally have the funds required to pay the release clause and bring Julian Bakker to Union Leipzig. And with a few days left in the window, all we have to do is agree on personal terms, but we can afford to be patient because in his absence, Nico Fofana has been an excellent, reliable option. He's been a faithful servant to this club for a number of years, and it's great to see him doing well as we pick up another win. But now it's deadline day and it's time to get down to business. We gotta get this deal over the line. So Julian Bakker comes in to negotiate a deal with Union Leipzig. We're ready to take the next step forward in the evolution of this club. But out of nowhere, Bakker rejects our deal. In a nasty turn of fate, it turns out our rivals RB Leipzig have offered him far more than we can, and unable to compete financially with them, the deal is off. And this could be a catastrophe. We just sold multiple players to make room for Bakker, and now too late in the window to go for alternatives, we come up empty-handed with a thinner squad than last season. So we now face the prospect of having to do with what we've got until January. We have Nico Fofana, who's done good so far, but is aging and not the highest rated. Julian Busch, who the manager hasn't trusted up top in the past. And then the young Max Bender, who might not be ready to get thrown into the starting 11 just yet at a young age. The manager is furious at his options, and the entire squad can feel it. For a team that was already having a bit of tension in the dressing room, this transfer window won't have helped anything. But we're gonna have to get past this if we want to have a decent season, and Nico Fofana again starts up top, coming close to scoring again. He still could be a good option for us. But as the game drags on with Union Leipzig desperate to prove something in this match, the mistakes start to fall in this high-intensity system. It's our midfield star Fischer who picks up a red card and throws the balance completely off. It's a collapse from Union Leipzig as we fall apart, and just like that, our bright start to the season comes to an end. Things are taking a turn for the worse. And Erlander, left frustrated by the past few weeks, again lashes out at his players, blaming Fischer for the red card, and also Busch again for not doing better with our chances to score. The divide in the dressing room just continues to grow as more than a few players now are unhappy. The mood at Union Leipzig is definitely starting to dip. Now it's not all bad because there are some players still playing really well under the manager, notably Nico Fofana, who drags us back to winning ways. But in the next match against our rivals RB Leipzig, Union are again torn apart by a top team. We're still not making the progress we want to see this season. And Erlander, frustrated by results, puts us on blast and stating Union deserved to lose this. His hot personality's adding fuel to the fire, but is it going to help the team dig deep and fight harder? Or is his critical attitude going to ruin our dressing room? Well, it's early days, and sitting in 6th place, our actual position in the table isn't the problem. Plus, we've got some players that are doing really well. Nico Fofana's having a season of a lifetime, and same with Schwartz, Bender, and a few others who are shining. And in fact, the manager does have a solid core of players here who love his style and are really excited about the way the team is developing. But we also have a growing number of players who are actively unhappy with the manager and maybe eyeing an exit from the club. And the club captain Kruger reaches out to the manager to tell him he's a little concerned, and Erlander, who has a bit of a temper, lashes back at the captain and tells him to get in line. The warning signs are there that Erlander may be losing the dressing room, and even the players that back him are starting to show signs that maybe they're losing faith. But all Erlander does is double down, and the players he's been critical of, he's gonna take action on, benching both Julian Busch and Samuel Fischer. It's a sign that any players who he doesn't feel like are up to our level won't be part of our squad. And the truth is, the manager's decisions are still paying off. He's pretty ruthless, but the fact is he's got players who are willing to die for him, and this high-pressing system is really working well. And with Uwe Schwartz continuing to emerge as one of the best young players not only in Germany, but in all of Europe, there is still a lot to be excited about here for Union Leipzig. And our style on the pitch is matching the personality of the manager. High intensity and high passion. We're a team that nobody wants to play against. We're aggressive, we're direct, and we are still getting results as Nico Fofana continues to have the season of his career. Our number 9 is thriving in this system, and suddenly it's not looking so bad for us after all. Now sitting in 5th place, Union Leipzig are actually on track to meet our goal of European competition next season. The big question is, can we keep this up? Well, the cracks start to show as Union Leipzig find that not every game is gonna go our way. 2 goals down in the next match. Union Leipzig needs someone to come off the bench and impact the game. The problem is, Erlander has alienated so many of the players that aren't in our starting 11, and now when players like Julian Busch are needed for an impact in the game, it's a little too late. His confidence is absolutely fried, and we're just not seeing any other players be able to help us when we need it. Well, Erlander is still on the hunt for players who he can trust, and in the German Cup, bringing back Max Bender to the side proves his preseason form wasn't a fluke. Our young academy striker could be the real deal, but Union Leipzig have more defensive problems to worry about. The unity in the team is fading, and so is our organization in the back line. And as the game goes to penalties, we are seen out to a defeat with an early exit from the cup. And for a Union Leipzig team that are looking to prove we can be one of the best in Germany, this defeat is a reminder of how far we still have to go. And another highly critical press conference from the manager sees some of the fringe players in our team continue to have their morale on a downslide. And the number of unhappy players in the dressing room continues to grow to the point where there's a portion of our team that's starting to feel outright toxic. But the most concerning part of it all is the manager's starting to lose the faith of some of his most trusted players as Kruger again wants to talk about the problem in the dressing room. The manager puts him on blast, and now even our club captain is starting to have his doubts. And now with a massive game against Dortmund up next, this could be a pivotal game in our season. A win could galvanize this team and start to win back the dressing room, but a loss could exacerbate the dressing room issues we're already having. Well, on the pitch, it's becoming clear that Union Leipzig are starting to play nervously. Everyone's afraid of upsetting the manager, and we're making big mistakes on the pitch. Our defense has been atrocious this season, and only 20 minutes into the game here, we find ourselves 2 goals behind to Dortmund. This is not going well. And the issues with our dressing room are starting to impact us on the field big time. For a team that's supposed to be built around unified pressing and teamwork, having half of our team upset and low on confidence isn't helping us as our defense is just looking so chaotic. It's a demoralizing loss to a top team and a reminder that Union Leipzig still are not making the progress that we want to. And our form is becoming less and less consistent. We're failing to keep clean sheets and capitalize on our chances. We're dropping points because of it. Erlander just hasn't been able to recreate that mentality he had last season. During our 20-game unbeaten streak, what was once an us against the world mentality is now split even within our own dressing room. As some players are bought in and others aren't, it's fractured performances on the pitch. Can Erlander turn this around before it's too late? Well, we still have a bit of hope because some players are still in top form. Nico Fofana is actually in the race for the Golden Boot at this point. He cannot stop scoring. And our number 9 completes his hat trick with plenty of time left to go. Up 3-0 now, Union Leipzig are feeling great, and it's looking like we're finally going to end this poor run of form. But then it all starts to fall apart for us as our leaky defense is causing so many problems that even a hat trick from our striker isn't enough to secure us a win. We concede 3, and in the blink of an eye, we've just dropped 2 points in a game we surely should have been winning. Only 1 win in our last 9 games is seriously concerning form as Union are sliding down the table, and as we approach January now, concerns are really starting to rise about the future of this club. It's reported that the ownership are intently monitoring the situation here as it's clear the manager's losing control of the team. Now, Union Leipzig did promise they'd back the manager, but given the way things are turning out, there could be a premature exit shaping up for Erlander if he can't quickly find his footing. But with the scoreline level late in our next match, it's again a complete collapse of our defense that sees us lose. It's been a miserable run of form from Union Leipzig with no signs of things getting better. The mood continues to get worse and worse. We're now down to 12th place, far off of where we'd like to be towards those European spots, but the position isn't even the biggest problem, it's the morale of our team. The players that have been outcast by the manager want out now that we're in January. Julian Busch hands in a transfer request, as does Fischer, our record signing from last season. So now Union Leipzig have a huge decision to make. It's either the manager or our star players. Who do they trust more? At the beginning of the season, surely the answer would have been Erlander, but given the way things are going, it's not exactly like he can be trusted on the pitch. And now it's time to make the call. The owner has a massive choice on his hands. Who stays and who goes? This single decision could be pivotal to the entire future of our club. Will Union Leipzig take immediate action, sacking the manager Victor Erlander, who only ended up making it a year and a half with our club? His time here is going to be remembered as being full of what-ifs. We came so close last season to having a successful campaign, but we fell short, and ultimately his strong personality is what drove the failure of this team as the dressing room fell apart. But now without a backup plan, sitting in the middle of a season, what are Union Leipzig gonna do? We need time to pick out the proper coach to lead us for the future. Right now, we don't have any other options. So the club make a bold move and appoint an interim manager as our youth coach and club favorite Stefan Kraus is called up to be a caretaker manager through the end of this season. Now, he might not be as qualified or tactically ready as our previous managers, but for a club in desperate need of a morale boost and some unification, this guy actually might be the perfect choice. He was the club captain under several of our current players like Fofana and Sommer all the way back in season 1, plus he's worked with plenty of our youth. Players like Uwe Schwartz and Samuel Sauer were the ones who were single-handedly picked out by him in the first place. Kraus is somebody that the entire club looks up to, so now all eyes are on him as the new manager of Union Leipzig as he attempts to turn around the mood here, convince our star players to stay, and get this team headed in the right direction again for the future. But with absolutely no time to prepare, Union Leipzig don't have any tactical identity under the new manager. We're just gonna have to rely on pure talent and good vibes. Now, our first manager binder was all about possession, whereas Erlander was about high pressing and intensity, but it's clear Stefan Kraus isn't experienced enough of a manager to even really know what his system is. In the meantime, we're just gonna have to hope that the players can carry us through. Do we have enough individual talent to get us in front even when there's not a clear structure to our lineup? Well, as Schwartz sets up Julian Busch, it's an amazing return to form. Union Leipzig are clearly high on the appointment of this new manager, and players who have been in a slump for a while now are already showing signs of coming back to life. And now all the young academy players that Kraus helped develop for years are shining on the pitch for the first team. In a lot of ways, this actually makes sense. As Union Leipzig look to transition to an academy first team, our superstar youngsters are breaking into the first team and playing for the manager who helped develop them in the first place. This is the first season we've actually seen the full spectrum of academy stars break into the first team. Max Bender scores yet another goal off the bench, and it's no longer just Schwartz and Sauer, but we're finally making good on our promise of having an academy first squad. It's a massive win in Kraus's very first game as manager. He has immediately turned around the entire mood of our dressing room. But the big question on everyone's mind is this sustainable? It was only a one-off game, and it's clear we're just not as tactically sound under the new manager. Gone are the days of a highly organized system, and right now Union Leipzig are more just about the vibes. But so far, that's actually working out okay for us, as Uwe Schwartz again gets himself on the score sheet. Sometimes the individual brilliance is enough, and we have plenty of that with our current squad. But the reality is, we are just a disorganized team at the moment. No real identity on the pitch, and no understanding of the type of football we're supposed to play. Despite a little bit of excitement in this game, it ultimately is a loss, and it looks like it's not going to be the miracle we were hoping it would be under the new manager. And now, sitting mid-table, roughly halfway through the season, our European hopes are probably gone. The rest of this season's just going to be about trying to salvage the team's confidence. But there's a lot to be excited about. Nico Fofana is genuinely in the race for the Golden Boot this season with 10 goals already. He's been on fire. Plus, we have a core group of young players that are coming up out of the academy. We've had a long-time vision of being a youth-first team, and it's finally becoming a reality this season. Schwartz, Bender, Sommer, Schuster, Sauer, they're all important players at Union Leipzig right now. But just as we were starting to get our confidence back, it's an enormous test for the club. We take on Bayern Munich, and the fact is we've had a miserable track record against Bayern and all of the top clubs here. We've yet to win a single game against them. Can Stefan Kraus and the new energy he's brought into this team be the turning point where Union Leipzig can finally get it done against some of the bigger teams? Well, unfortunately, it's still chaotic on the pitch. As Bayern Munich score early, it's a clear sign we need more than just hope to win. We're clearly behind them tactically and probably on track for another loss. Union Leipzig did a great job rising up through the lower divisions to get to the Bundesliga, but now that we're here, we've had a really difficult time taking it to that next level. We just need some kind of spark to finally turn the tides in these kind of games, and Nico Fofana does it with some high pressure, winning the ball back. Union Leipzig are suddenly back in this, and it's that man again, Nico Fofana. But can Union Leipzig hang on to the result now? Bayern Munich are knocking down our door, and it's all hands on deck in defense as we continue to defend against a barrage of attacks. But the big change for Union Leipzig now is that the team feels united again, and despite our shortcomings tactically, there's no doubt that the team are fully bought in under Kraus as Uwe Schwartz is clean through on goal, and Union Leipzig pull in front against German giants Bayern Munich. Stefan Kraus has just come to the club and got us our first ever win against a top side here in Germany. There's been a lot of questions floating around about his qualifications to be manager at this club, but after that win, I don't think anybody is going to doubt Kraus at the moment. He's a beloved figure here at Union Leipzig, and now as manager, everybody is fully backing him. And now with a new sense of purpose and morale in the team, Union Leipzig are suddenly looking great. We'll see how long the new manager bounce lasts for, but at the moment we just have to enjoy it. The players that have been doing well all season keep it up under Kraus, but the biggest difference now is we're seeing those players that struggled under Erlander get their confidence back. Julian Busch looks direct again, and we're seeing that flair that was kind of coached out of him the last 2 seasons come back on the pitch. Now it's clear Busch hasn't quite taken that step up to the Bundesliga that we hoped he might, but he's still an undeniably fun player to watch. But out of our front 3, it's the other 2 who are some of the best in the league at the moment. Fofana and Schwartz have formed a deadly partnership, both of them scoring at a wild rate. It's the perfect blend of experience and youth, and right now, both of those parts are doing their job. And as Union Leipzig's former academy coach, Kraus knows all of our academy graduates intimately, and he's giving them plenty of opportunities in this team as players like Stefan Berger now are breaking into the first team and making a huge impact. Now, it was said for seasons that we were going to have the best academy in Germany, but for a long time nobody saw it paying off. However, I think this season is the turning point. It's undeniable now. We have some world-class players in the making. And hold on now, sitting in 6th place as we come into January, European spots are definitely on the cards. Can Union Leipzig shock the league this season? Well, this is a team that needs no further change, so even in the January window, we're not looking to bring in any new players, but we are going to make one move. Max Bender, who's shown immense potential this season, isn't getting enough playing time. So with only a few hours left in the window, Kraus makes the right decision to loan him out, and Bender's going to stay in the Bundesliga to play under Schalke for the second half of this season. If he can have a good loan and come back, surely he can fight for that starting spot next campaign. And in the short term, it's the same players who are looking good. Uwe Schwartz is seriously one of the best in the league, and his dramatic late winner sees Union Leipzig pick up another 3 points. But despite the boost in confidence and the raw talent in this team, it's clear we're not a polished side. We're dropping points, and all in all, it's been a mixed bag of results recently. But it has been good enough. We're sitting in 5th place and we're back on track to try to qualify for European competitions. And it's clear to see the reasons why. Nico Fofana and Uwe Schwartz are tied at the top of the Golden Boot race. We have some of the best players in the league right now. But unfortunately, our usual star player Julian Busch still is struggling to adapt up here at the Bundesliga level, and although he's not a bad player by any means, he's certainly been disappointing, especially in comparison to our other front two. So although everything in the club may not be perfect at the moment, it is certainly good enough. We're making some huge strides and finally getting results against big clubs. A 3-0 win is above and beyond what we'd expect against Dortmund at the start of the season. What a turnaround we're having. And without the rigid systems of managers like Binder and Erlander, we're actually seeing some nice free-flowing stuff. But with Julian Busch still unable to finish chances, even the games we're winning, there's a bit of a disappointing feeling that it could be more if he had been more clinical. So now off the back of a good run of form, it's the ultimate test for us. Union Leipzig take on our rivals Red Bull. We've never had a positive result against them, having lost 5 of our last 5 matches against our local rivals. But we go in good form. Can Kraus finally crack the code? Well, Union's suddenly full of life, coming with a ton of attacking intent, but no one's able to find the back of the net early. And as the game drags on into the second half, it is yet again Red Bull who find the opening goal. Well, we just seem cursed when it comes to playing our rivals, and it looks like we're on the path to yet another defeat here in Leipzig. But for the first time ever, Union actually come in full of self-belief when we play our rivals, and Nico Fofana, who's in the form of his life, scores the goal that finally earns us a well-deserved point against Red Bull. It may not be a win just yet, but it is a positive result for a change. Union Leipzig still have a lot of work to do, but the signs have been more than encouraging as of late. So this is it. 3 games left in the season. We're sitting in 4th. Not only can we qualify for Europe, we can actually be in the Champions League next season. But is this team ready for the challenge? We genuinely have some of the best players in the league. Uwe Schwartz on 20 goals and 10 assists, and Nico Fofana just a goal behind him. But we need everybody in this team to be pitching in and ready to compete. With 3 games left, every single point's gonna count. And in a very difficult matchup in our next game, in the blink of an eye, we find ourselves chasing a goal. Only 10 minutes into the game, we're gonna have to fight our way back into this one. Union turn to our usual superstars as Julian Busch plays a through ball, but again, it's missing the precision we need at this level. Union are throwing everything at this game, but still no goal as Schwartz dances through the back line. Again, Busch unable to get there. We still are yet to score. So with only minutes left in the game, it's a drastic change from the manager, bringing on 4 players and notably taking off players like Busch, who he's starting to feel like he can't trust in these situations. So with the game on the line, was the manager correct in his substitutions? Union may have one more chance as Stefan Berger, who just came onto the pitch, wins a penalty kick, and now it's all on the line for Union Leipzig. We have a chance to salvage a point. And it's none other than the young Uwe Schwartz, who's taken over as Union Leipzig's star player this season. Can he be the difference maker? Yes! This is the kind of player who can come up big at the very highest level, and Union do come away with a draw from a game that we were very much struggling in. And the talk in the media after the game was about the substitutions, and specifically Kraus's decision to take off Julian Busch in a big moment. The manager responds he prefers to not talk about individuals. That kind of non-answer doesn't bode well for our usual superstar. Union Leipzig are going through a period of change, transitioning into a top club, and the sad reality is not every player is going to be able to take that step up. Can Julian Busch and some of our older players stick with the team through this growth? At this point, it's up to them to prove they have what it takes on the pitch in these final 2 matches. But again, not everything is perfect here for Union Leipzig as the team starts to fall apart tactically. Our lack of defensive resilience is becoming a problem as we concede again. And the manager's clearly losing patience with those that aren't performing, again opting for substitutions and taking off players like Busch and Sommer, who are being bettered by younger players like Schuster and Berger. But not every game can just be rescued by substitutions. The entire team is struggling a little bit, and as Union Leipzig fail to find the back of the net, it's a defeat in one of the most pivotal games for our season. We had Champions League on the line, and that result may have just thrown it for us. A 6-point swing sees Frankfurt pull into 4th above us, but the hope is still there. 1 game left in the season. If we win, there's still a chance we could finish in 4th. But now the question is, what's the right team for the job? Julian Busch has been in rough form and is falling out with a 2nd consecutive manager, and Schwartz and Fofana aren't quite as sharp as they were earlier in the season, falling off a bit in terms of goal scoring. So Kraus makes 2 enormous decisions. taking off Julian Busch and Vincent Sommer in favor of Schuster and Berger, two players he's beginning to trust more. But funny enough, that's far from the biggest news this week, because a bombshell has dropped on the squad as longtime striker Nico Fofana announces, against everyone's expectations, he's retiring at the end of this season. And this is a sad moment for the club. This is a player who's been with us since day one, through the highs and lows of our rise up to the Bundesliga, and a sign that we're transitioning from one era to another. It's going to be a farewell match for Nico Fofana, but it may just be a farewell for Union Leipzig's past as we look to transition into a top team. A win here is a must. Can we qualify for the Champions League next season? Well, Union Leipzig are more motivated than ever. Not only have we had our confidence come back under Kraus, we want a good farewell for Nico Fofana, who comes close to scoring. It's been all Union Leipzig as we're dominating these opening 15 minutes. Schuster puts a ball to the back post. We're trying everything we can, and Schwartz comes the closest yet with a header just inches over the bar. We've seen everything but a goal so far. Union completely dominant as Schwartz is tackled off the ball. That's going to be a free kick in a dangerous area. Can we get something going here? As Berger looks to play it quick, Schwartz slips it through. Fofana, the chance! Well, still no goal, but it's been incredibly promising for Union Leipzig. We're dominant in this match, and surely we're on our way to a win if we keep this up. Now, Stefan Kraus was only brought in to be our interim manager, but so far things are really shaping up under him. However, the defensive organization isn't always our strong suit, and as we get caught on the counter-attack, we concede against the run of play. One shot and one goal conceded, and just like that, our hopes of winning this game may have just been dashed. But as long as we've got our stars, we have a way back into the game, and with 20 minutes left, Uwe Schwartz is making a run into the box. It's a chance, and he is clattered into and stays down. Our star player has just been injured, so we have to turn to Julian Busch, who comes off the bench looking to make an impact in our biggest game of the season. But Union Leipzig are running out of time here despite all the chances and all the possession. We have nothing to show for it. Even a draw would do us wonders here in the race for the Champions League, as Busch has an opportunity, but again, he's not the man for the moment as we fail to score and lose our final game of the season. Now we officially finish in 5th place, which should have seen us ruled out of the Champions League, but in an absolute miracle, Bayern Munich winning the Champions League this season means we get the 5th place spot and an entry into next season's competition. Against all of the odds, Union Leipzig have made it into the Champions League. It's been our most chaotic season so far, and the big question on everyone's mind is, what happens next? Stefan Kraus did far better than expected, and the rumors now are that he may be staying on next season. And in terms of players, there's a lot of uncertainty too. Schwartz has broken his ankle and will be out for the foreseeable future, and that combined with the retirement of Fofana means our options up top are going to be up in the air. Who's going to be the man for Union Leipzig next season? Schwartz and Fofana were far and away our best players, and that leaves us with Julian Busch, the next best in line, who's been underwhelming. Next season could be make or break for his career here at Union Leipzig, because he's only got a year left on his contract. Can Union Leipzig succeed in the Champions League and continue on our path to becoming the best team in Germany? All that and more next episode. And a huge thank you to all my channel members who help make this content possible. And if you're enjoying this series, please consider subscribing as a member on this channel as well. You'll get perks like early access to videos, but more important, your support is what I need on my goal to do YouTube full time and make more quality content like this. Thank you so much for watching either way though, and I'll see you back here for the next video.